Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for returning. I really depend on you for the YouTube traffic. Thanks a lot, you're really doing me a solid. And if you're a first-time viewer, do please at least consider sticking around. So what are we talking about today? So I was looking away from you there. What are we talking about today? We are going to look at this book. It's a very, very slim novella, okay? Well, it's a novella, it's going to be slim, called A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen L. Peck. So this book, it's a really, really excellent read. And because of the nature of the subject, this video will not be so full of my usual trademark excellent humour. So what I would like to do, to lighten the mood before we start, I think it's time for some good jokes. So, as we see here, I have a book called by Lee Child. Okay, Lee Child, famous author. Now, I like Lee Child, but I prefer Lee Adult. Just give you a minute to stop laughing there. Okay, people have probably finished laughing about now. Okay, right, so that's enough with the good jokes for now. Let's go on to Staying in Hell, A Short Stay in Hell. Pardon me. So A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen L. Peck. I think that this is a really, really, really excellent read. Okay, as you can see, it's only a slim volume, as I just said. And normally, if you've watched any of my other videos in the past, you'll have seen that I try not to give away spoilers, but I do kind of give a sense of what's going on. This is such a great book. I really don't want to do that at all. I'm just going to give you information, the kind of information that you could find just reading the blurb on the back. So I don't want to spoil anything at all. I don't want to give you any. If you read this book, I want you to discover everything for yourself. So basically, the story is this. Sounds pretty simple. A man dies, perfectly ordinary, perfectly normal, decent, everyday kind of man. He's actually a Mormon, and he wakes up in hell. And in case you're wondering what these are, they look like. It looks like he's in a warehouse, doesn't it, or in some kind of canyon. He's in a library. And the premise is quite simple. All the people in this hell have to do is find the book that talks about their life. They have to insert it into a slot. Once that happens, they'll be taken to heaven, where they'll be in the most blissful heaven, the most blissful paradise. But that is not going to happen until they find the book. Now, obviously, looking at the picture here, this illustration, you already understand that the library is vast. But one of the interesting things about this book is it makes you rethink words like vast and eternity. Because, believe me, the library is vast. I'm not going to tell you how big. You've got to read the story. And the reason I think this is such a great book is because it's short, but it's an incredibly captivating story. I mean, it can sound quite boring. Oh, there's a guy, he's in a library, maybe there are other people there, they've got to find the book of their life. How interesting could that really be? There's probably lots of angst and blah, 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 and lots of depression and crying. And there is that, but it's not a depressing book, okay? It's a very, very, it's sad in places, it's fairly light-hearted in places, maybe. Maybe light-hearted is not the right way to put it. There are some lighter moments, but okay. But it's not boring at all. You'd be surprised how varied the story can get in such a kind of non-changing environment, because the environment doesn't change. As I say, it's a book that really stays with you. I was thinking recently, not to bore anyone with my thoughts too much, but I was thinking recently about some of the fiction that I've read, and I find that in horror in particular, or fiction in general, because this channel isn't just about horror, but in fiction in general, very often you can read a book which is enjoyable, which is fun, or which is scary, or what have you. But there aren't really, I think, that many books that really stay with you. I mean, some of the fiction that I've read, it's good fun when I'm reading it, but it's quite disposable. Like, reading it didn't change anything for me. It didn't change anything for how I think or how I feel or my perspective on life or anything like this. And this book, I think, has done something different. I mean, I'm not going to go into my religious beliefs or anything like that because it's not important. That's not the scope of the channel. But this book really does make you consider the idea of eternity. It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. You could be any religion. You could be atheist, agnostic, whatever. But it really makes you think of what we really makes you think of eternity. What would eternity anywhere or in any situation really feel like? So it really makes you think. It's a horror book. I would class it as a horror book. I don't know if the author would class it as horror, but I would class it as horror. Certainly, the people in hell are in a horrific situation, and it is effective as a horror. I would say there is no over I suppose small thing I could say. There's no over. There's no over gore or violence in it. I mean, there is some violence, but it's not drawn out. It's the author doesn't rub your face in it or anything like that. It's not a gory book. It's horrific because of the actual situation. So I would definitely recommend everyone to read this. I think this book is destined to become a classic, not just a horror classic, but I think it should be a classic in general. I think like 100 years from now, it should be shelved in classic sections of bookshops along with, Steinbeck or Mark Twain or any other classic authors, because I think it really is that good. I definitely think it's classic horror. So if you read the book, do give me a comment to tell me what you think of it. And if you liked it, you disliked it, why not? And I will see you in the next video, where perhaps there will be more good jokes. Bye for now.